Hello everybody, this is going to be a quick little video about making a grape jelly. The one thing you're going to need to have is your nice clean jars. We're going to make sure that we try to stay in the pint size. Now jars come in a different sizes as far as the mouth goes. This is a standard size, and here is a wide mouth size. You also need to sterilize, as well as the jars, your rings of different sizes, and you don't use old lids or old flats. You want to go out and buy the correct size of your lids or flats that go inside the ring. You need new lids for a good seal of your jellies. Now, you can go with regular Sure Jell, which is the regular amount of sugar. But if you're diabetic, you can also buy less or no sugar Sure Jell pectin. I forgot to mention, you are going to need sugar, a lot of sugar. We actually bought 3 10-pound bags just to make sure that we had enough. And if you're going to make grape jelly, you need grapes. Making grape jam sounds like a lot of fun, a good amount of work, making the juice and all that. But there's one thing that needs to be said at the forefront before anything else, and that is this: cleanliness. These jars were all clean, set on Sani, which is high heat. It has to be clean. The rings were also put in boiling water and boiled to get rid of any possible bacteria on them. The other thing is you need to keep washing your hands throughout the whole process. And lastly, you need to follow the directions to the T, exactly following all the ratios. You cannot decrease the amount of sugar because you will have mold in your jelly. If you deviate from the directions, you could also make jelly that maybe doesn't look like there's any problem. Maybe it didn't mold. Your jam looks great, tastes great. The problem is you could have made poison, because botulism can get into canned foods of any type. So make sure you follow all the directions that come with the product to the T. You do not decrease any of the ratios. You don't jerk them around thinking, well, I'll do this and I'll do that. If you do that, you can have jam or jelly that does not gel. You could have jam or jelly that will mold, because this is a well-known, worked-out process from decades ago, and it's the way you're supposed to do it. And as I mentioned before, it might gel, it might look good, might taste good, but if you didn't do it properly, you could have created essentially poison, and it could be toxic. Botulism is one of the worst things that you can ever ingest. So keep that in mind. As of yet, my wife, who's a master food preserver, she has over the years canned and preserved many, many things, and there's never been a problem. So if you follow directions to the T, you will have success. And remember, do not decrease the amount of sugar as required. You don't have a concave amount of sugar in your measuring cup. You don't have a convex amount. You have an even amount right across the top of the cup. The measuring cup is designed for a purpose. So I went to my father-in-law's 440-acre farm with a nice grapevine, and these are Scuppernong grapes. They have this sort of brownish greenish color, and these have been washed. The best way to do it is just get yourself a colander and wash your grapes. And you pick out any grapes that seem crushed or rotten. You get rid of all the stems and leaves and all that good stuff. And that can go right into the garbage disposal. And once you're all clean, the grapes are all clean, then the next step is to cook them down. I would also mention, sometimes when you're picking grapes, you might get one that's a little firm, but you can go ahead and use that grape along with the ripe ones. What you definitely don't want to use is something that looks like that. Hey, we found some more grapes I forgot from a friend of ours' vineyard. These are muscadines. And we will also make some muscadine jelly as well as scuppernong. It's good timing that we're making this jelly today because we're just down to our very last jar of jelly from last year's crop. Yippee! And it's marked H2O because we were a little shy on juice, so we added a little H2O to get the proper canning amount. We are going to do a mix of muscadine and scuppernong in this nice big pot. And we have a little bit of water over the top, not too much so far.
Okay, that's good.
And now we're going to turn it on to high. And you don't need to put a top. Just going to cook it down. Set on high. Okay, these grapes, the muscadine scuppernong mix, have come to a boil, and we let them boil until you can see that they are soft and that the skin has split. So now the water that's in here that it was boiled in is going to be the juice, part of the juice that we use to make not jelly, as I was saying before, but jam. And the tool we're going to need next to get all the rest of the goodies, little bits of pulp and juice out, is this device here called a Foley or a kitchen Foley. It's raised on this level and then flat down here. And you load it up with fruit that's been cooked down. And as you hold it over top of a container, the second container where the juice is going to go from this cook down, you just go around and around and around, and it mashes the grapes and mashes the juice out. Maybe we'll even show that being done next. Okay, the cooked down grapes are going into the Foley. Here is the juice that we're going to make our jam with, adding 5 cups of juice to 7 cups of sugar, and then the Sure Jell will be added as well. Right now, we're going to use the Foley. This is not my favorite part of the operation.
Yeah, your favorite part is eating the jelly.
And you go backwards a little bit.
The tasting of the final product is your favorite part.
Oh yeah. I need to taste it weekly on different things. Crackers, buns, bread, toast. Oh, toast. Muffins, bagels. So you get the general idea. And once all this is squeezed and you just have these smashed up skins, you dump that. Okay, these grapes are processed enough and they can be thrown out and the next set started on. That's about what they look like when they are completely folied. You will reach a point during this process that even though you go round and round and round and round, you'll notice that not any more juice is really dripping out. So then you're pretty much done and you can discard this and go to the next step. You will notice on the bottom of the Foley that you have all this pulpy goodness. Like I was saying, this pulpy goodness can go right into the juice. So let me get at it.
7 in. Perfect. 7's in.
We've measured out our 7 cups of sugar. Now we need 5 cups of juice. 1 cup in a fresh, clean pot. 2 cups. 3 cups, nice pulpy grape juice. 4 cups. Need a little more. And 5 cups of juice. Okay, we're adding just a little bit of butter because it will reduce the foam in your jelly. Then we're going to add 1 packet of pectin. We've already got the 7 cups of sugar ready for later. And you bring this to a rolling boil. So we're going to turn the iron on now, and you stir that in nice and good. And wait for it to come to a rolling boil. Okay, once this comes to a full rolling boil, we immediately add all of the 7 cups of sugar to the juice with the pectin. And once the sugar is added in, it's going to knock the boil down. But once the rolling boil starts again, you keep stirring for 1 minute, and we've got that set and ready to go. One thing you need to do while your juice and pectin and sugar are boiling, actually before you add the sugar, you need to have your clean jars turned over and ready to add the very, very hot juice, pectin, sugar mix.
Clean finger.
You check the rims of all of your jars to make sure there is not a defect or a chip in the glass. If it is, don't use it. I would say we are at a rolling boil. This cannot be stirred back down.
Right.
So it's time to add the sugar and start the timer.
No, not start the timer.
Once the boil starts back up again after you add the sugar, that's when you start your timer.
Add the sugar all at one time.
All right, my lovely assistant, can you please add the sugar?
Stir, stir, stir.
Okay, we need to stir all that in. Getting all the sugar broke up. Our rolling boil, as I said, has left. And we're getting all the clumps of sugar broken down as best as we can. Okay, still stirring, making sure all that sugar is dissolving. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm not seeing any more lumps of sugar floating around to speak of. We're waiting for it to come to a rolling boil again. A rolling boil, you cannot stir it away. I want to thank my lovely assistant Anne for all her help and for all the many wonderful things, jellies and jams she has made in the past. I am finally getting in on the act, sort of a latecomer. But I picked all these grapes a few days ago, and now it's time to process them and make the jelly. What's the old saying? Water doesn't boil while you watch it. Well, I'm going to test that here on this pot right here. Okay, we've got a rolling boil and the timer is set. And after 1 minute is up, we will take it off the eye. Okay, we've got about 15 seconds left on the timer. It'll soon be time to take it off the eye.
Okay, this is what it looks like. You get all the foam to one side, and then you take a ladle and you ladle a little bit off it. Let me get a ladle, John. You want all these bubbles off if you can get it.
Is that enough off?
Yep.
And now we're adding to the jar.
You fill within a 1/4 inch of the top.
1/4 inch of the top. You get the idea. When you're down this low, you need to have an extra jar ready to pour the very little bit off. And you don't really have to can that. Now you double check the rims of the jar, and any juice that got on there, you try and clean it off so you'll have a nice seal when the lid or the flat is put on. Okay, so for all those grapes that we processed that you saw in the beginning, we have got 4 pints. And you add your rings. Brand new flats, brand new lids. Do not reuse old lids. And then you turn them over. Have an area ready in your kitchen so that you can do this work just like this. The ring is on nice and tight. And then you invert the jars.
Set the timer.
And the timer is to be set for
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Starting now.
Your first batch made, the thing you gotta do is be sure to clean out the pot you used. It's got to be sparkling clean before your next batch. You don't want to have any gel or any sugar or any of that in. Got to be clean. The timer has gone off, so you definitely turn these over, and they are hot, so be careful. Whew. Let my wife do the last one. I'm at my max for pain. All right, so
They'll pop.
you will hear many times a popping sound, which basically says they are sealed. It's a little vacuum sound they make. But we probably won't catch that on the video.
Right. Label them.
And then we label them. Write something on the top as to what they are. This is a Scuppernong Muscadine mix. So that was our first batch. We are working on our second batch, and when I report back, we will see how many jars came out of grapes this much, plus another small bowl. So the second batch is going to be 100% Scuppernong. Third, fourth batch, however many we make, will be all Scuppernong. The very first ones, the first 4 pints, they are going to be Muscadine Scuppernong mix. Okay, after 4 batches of jelly making, we have 4 pints of the Muscadine Scuppernong mix. We have 4 pints batch 2 of Scuppernong, and we have 4 pints of Scuppernong batch 3. WG stands for with ginger added. And then batch 4 is Scuppernong as well. We'll have to add an S to these. Now the color difference is slight. The Muscadine's a little red, and the Scuppernong's more on the golden. The ginger is golden as well, and batch 4 is also golden. And all the jellies that were left over from each batch, that jelly was added into this jar here. You can see the Muscadine at the bottom. And this is not canned, so to speak. It's not put away, storable like these. It's not sealed. So we can just have this jelly straight up in our refrigerator to use. All right. So that's it. It took several hours, and frankly, I am absolutely worn out. But it's well worth the effort. I hope you learned something from watching this video. Happy jam making. Well, I had some of this jelly on a cracker here. We're talking good eating. As Andy Griffith used to say, good cracker. It's better though with homemade grape jelly. Well, I've liked grape jelly my whole life.
Raspberry and strawberry. And
Let's
plum.
see.
I love plum.
Let's
Cherry.
see how this gelled up.
Probably not yet much.
Oh, that's not bad. See you later.